Yeah, I'm okay.
You ever go to see a new horror movie and it just restores your faith in humanity? Let's get into a little Final Destination Bloodlines talk. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. I have been talking about a new 6th entry in the Final Destination franchise pretty much since I started this page all the way back in 2019. It's been a long time coming for a Final Destination franchise revival, and I am so happy to report that this film did not disappoint. Bloodlines commits to the age-old franchise formula while still trying something new out. This is one of the best ways to bring an old franchise like this back. It goes down a different path, that's for sure, but it doesn't sacrifice the things we ultimately love about this series. Bloodlines prospers the most with its characters, however. This is probably the only time I'm ever going to say this about a franchise continuation, but making this a film all about family is a genuinely great direction for this series. Final Destination typically has a bunch of butthole characters that you just want to see die, and there is some fun to that, sure, but here it replaces them with a family that you actually love. You're kind of rooting for them too. I personally really liked all of the big players here, and seeing some of them die was a major bummer. Do all of them die? Well, we'll talk about that in the spoiler section of this video that's coming up here. Getting this out of the way, I teared up during the William Bloodworth sequence of this film. Now, I always get a comment from some 30-year-old living in his mom's basement saying, "Oh, a movie made you cry? You're such a baby. You're not even a man." Yeah, that was the intention of the film, you loser. You're telling me you're a fan of movies, but you're not going to let them make you feel emotions? That's the whole fucking point. I was excited. I was disgusted. I was even upset during moments of this film. It brought out a lot of emotions in me. That's why I keep spending money to go to the damn theaters, dude. Don't tell me I'm a baby because I cry watching certain films. You're not enjoying film correctly if that's the case. Sorry, hill I'll die on. A movie's never made you cry? Ugh, you're a fucking loser. I loved this scene, and we'll talk more about it in a second. Sorry, I'm really passionate about that. Really, my only big issue with this film is I don't know if there's ever a single kill in this movie that I would call like top 10 best of the series, and there are some REQUEL tropes here and there that feel a little exhausted. But besides that, this movie won me over almost immediately with the opening scene. On top of that, I think it does do some things way better than all 5 of the films that precede it. The characters and the writing being the absolute biggest thing that really won me over early on this one, and I think there's an argument to say that Bloodlines is the best one for that reason. I'm still personally on the fence with my rankings. I feel like I still have that like post-theater glow from a movie I really enjoyed. So I gotta think about it for a little bit, but I'll have a definitive answer come this Sunday in a brand new video. All right, go see the movie in theaters. We're getting into spoiler talk. If you have not seen the film quite yet, get the heck on out of here and then come on back when you've seen the movie. I'll see you all again soon. If you find a way to cheat death, that is. All right, diving headfirst into some spoilers here, let's talk about that premonition. I love the way they structured this one, breaking it up through this extended opening. You get to see the premonition in its entirety, then we flash forward through the eyes of our main character, Stephanie. We get introduced to the whole family after seeing a bunch of crazy awesome kills that we already know are fake, admittedly, but they were still fun to watch. Come on, let's be real here. Then we get to meet Iris and learn about what really happened. I love this because it felt like we were getting right into the action. Again, it's been 14 years since we've had a new one of these movies. I want to see some crazy Final Destination kills. This movie understands that we want to get into that like almost immediately. We've been waiting a long time, us fans. And oh my god, it delivers almost immediately with some crazy deaths here. The fire stunt that happens with the burning old lady running into a miasma of gas was a gnarly record-breaking practical. It set the world record for the oldest person to be set ablaze on film. That stunt performer was Yvette Ferguson. She was 71 when they filmed this, and she's a total badass. Congratulations, Yvette, on that piping hot achievement. That backstory kind of makes that kill my favorite from the premonition, but I have to say the lady who gets her leg like all twisted up and then hit with the piano, which we all saw in the trailer, like a lot of these kills admittedly, was probably my favorite. That was really hard to watch. The leg twisting part, I should say. The piano just kind of comes and obliterates her. It's cool, but the leg part, yikes. Also, I just have to say that might be the most murderous penny in film history. See, they should have stopped printing those useless hunks of metal a long time ago. They cost more to make than what they're worth. We already have Honest Abe on the $5 bill. Get rid of the penny. The penny. I seriously can't praise this enough. I really enjoyed the main character Stephanie here. I think she was very well written, maybe one of my favorite characters in the series. I want to preface this by saying, like, it's a Final Destination movie. I'm not going into this expecting like Oscar levels of writing or some sort of deep meaning. No, I just need a character who is going to push everyone's buttons and seem insane at a certain point. Stephanie fills that mold very well. If you had higher expectations than that for these characters, you're missing the point. I don't know what to tell you. Look, it's teen drama horror at the end of the day. You're not gonna get a ton of sophistication. This is horror to have fun with and not much more than that. And that's okay. It's a slight pet peeve of mine when you have characters in this series who just believe the person who had the premonition like almost immediately. I think it needs a little bit of convincing if we're gonna kind of believe this story that's happening on screen. Again, I don't need anything super sophisticated, but give me a little something. There's a middle ground there that they can strike, and I feel like they've hit that here in Bloodlines. The characters at one point are making fun of Stephanie for thinking that death's gonna get them, and then death gets one of them. I mean, Aunt Brenda even starts to cry a little bit when Stephanie goes on her whole "we shouldn't exist" rant. Lots of excellent, simple character work here that goes a long way. Again, I care about these characters, and when they all f***ing die, it sucks. Biggest thing, though, is that they're all likable and relatable, and I can't say that about literally any of the other Final Destination movies. There is at least one character in every previous film that is written in there so that you hate them and you enjoy seeing them die. If it's Carter from the original, you know, the dick.
Carter, you dick.
Or if it's Carter from the Final Destination, you know, the racist. I hated hanging out with those characters, but here, I was actually enjoying my time with all these people. I get the feeling that like the other side of the Campbell family, so like not from Stephanie's side of the family, were supposed to come off as kind of jerks at one point, but I still ended up feeling for them. I mean, there's that really emotional sequence between Eric and Bobby right before they both die in the MRI room. There was some brotherly love there, man. I was upset. Because many of these characters end up being very wholesome, you want to root for them, there's this like touch of optimism to this film that I feel like none of the other flicks have. It almost gives you this false sense of security, like, oh, well, these are good people, so they're probably gonna make it through this one, unlike the previous characters, which Bloodlines uses to its advantage. Oh no, sweetie, this is still a Final Destination film and everybody f***ing dies. I can't tell you how unbelievably happy the ending of this film made me. I was so worried that they were gonna say, oh, it's a new generation, you know, we gotta have a happier ending, we have to have characters live through more of these movies so we keep making more money. No, f that, we're killing everybody. This is a Final Destination flick, damn it. This series has not skipped a damn beat. They are keeping franchise staples alive and well in the 6th entry, and honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would have guessed this movie came out in 2013, just 2 years after the 5th entry. I wish I could say the same about every horror franchise out there, but unfortunately that's just not the case. Favorite kill outside of the premonition, though, is probably everything that happens in the MRI machine room. That wheelchair puncturing through Eric was nasty, and the spring in Bobby's head was a bit hilarious. Maybe I'm just a contrarian here, but a lot of the early reviews were saying that this movie is like way too Looney Tunes in terms of tone. I felt that the monkey from earlier this year was way sillier than this flick. I mean, yeah, there's goofy moments, but in like every Final Destination flick, there's something that's kind of silly happening on screen. This movie is no different. Now, if you've watched any of the other Final Destination videos on this page, you know I bitch a lot about how notoriously bad the VFX are in some of these sequels. It's rough here, but I wouldn't call it unwatchable like some of the kills in 4 and 5. The only one where I feel like it's genuinely bad is Julia's garbage truck death, where her head gets crushed, and it's like, that's just not how that would happen, dude. That was the only kill I was disappointed by, but I did like the setup and the concept. It was a little meta too, talking about like, oh, Stephanie's pointing out how it's gonna happen, and then it kind of happens that way. That was fun. My only other issue with Bloodlines is that it definitely falls into some requel tropes that are a bit exhausted, but I don't exactly hate the way that they were utilized. Iris Campbell is basically our Laurie Strode from Halloween 2018, living in an isolated cabin out in the middle of nowhere, safe from the danger. Or so she thinks. I know some people are going to argue that it's way too repetitive, it's way too Halloween 2018, but personally I think there's a better way to look at it based on an old idea from this series. It could also be looked at as a more fleshed out version of that one scene in the original film where Alex Browning is hiding out from death and admittedly the FBI. Thinking about it like that, I don't mind it personally, but I do see this argument holding some weight. I mean, they literally go back to this cabin in the 3rd act, just like in Halloween 2018. I totally understand if that was something that bugged you. Finally, we have to talk about William John Bloodworth, or JB as his friends call him. Like I said earlier, I was tearing up a bit seeing the final performance from the legendary Tony Todd, and not just because this was a posthumous release, but because of some of the stuff that he gets into. It's so philosophical on life. It feels like Tony Todd didn't even read from a script. He just came in one day and just said all of that. It feels like he knew it was coming in real life, that these were his final days, but he was still gonna have fun playing this beloved character of his. And it was just, it's heartbreaking. It really is just a heart-wrenching emotional sequence. I loved learning about his backstory, that Iris saved him all those years ago. That was really cool, but it's those last few lines that resonated with me the most. Rest in peace to the Candyman, baby. As a longtime fan of this series, I genuinely had such a good time watching this one. More franchise continuations should seriously take note, because this film wasn't solely focused on surface-level nostalgia. It took that old formula, it understood what worked about it. Admittedly, it's a more simple one than some of the other franchises getting continued right now, but it still took that, worked it into a modern story, and made it something fresh. If more franchises did what Bloodlines did, opposed to just repeating the same thing with the same characters over and over and over again, we would have more universally accepted films coming out in the modern day. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this wild Final Destination Bloodlines review, make sure to subscribe to this page for more coverage on upcoming horror flicks. Thank you for 33,000 plus subscribers. Hopefully we'll hit 40K before the end of the year. Also, make sure to check out GullGotha, my horror gaming channel. I just played the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, and we had some weird updates with that one lately, so definitely check out that video if you have some time. Also, subscribe. Final Destination Bloodlines is coming in with some mixed reviews, though, so let me know what you guys think about this one down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.